Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our My Healthy Minutes segment brought to us by ogpay.com, we are featuring the awesome Dr. Suzanne Soliman. She's a pharmacist, a media contributor, a celebrity vitaminologist, a pharmaceutical industry expert, and of course, a keynote speaker. Today, we're chatting weight loss, minerals, and vitamin deficiencies, how they're affecting your weight and sex drive. And according to the good doctor, what if you could take vitamins to help you lose weight? The key is to target your supplements to your body's demands and take the right ones at the proper dose. Now, we all know that vitamins and minerals aren't just meant for protecting you against the cold and flu. They also help keep your body balanced and fight weight gain. There's a complex relationship between how much you weigh and your vitamin and mineral status. And falling short on crucial vitamins and minerals could contribute to weight gain or make it more difficult to trim down. When the body is in optimal state, the amount of energy you take in is carefully balanced with the amount you burn for fuel. Various hormones also handle processes such as stimulating appetite, breaking down food into usable components, shuttling sugar from the blood into cells, and storing energy for future use. Also, let's face it, who doesn't want a healthy sex drive? After all, an active sex drive is linked to pleasure, duh, pain relief, bladder control, better sleep, and so much more. But of course, a robust sex life also increases intimacy with your partner. It's a win-win-win. That said, it's totally normal to feel fluctuations in your libido. In fact, you may be at the thick of a dry spell, but don't fret. There may be ways to spice up your sex life, including, meditation, but when it comes to improving your sex drive, you also want to consider your diet. After all, passion requires sustained energy. Plus, no one wants digestive woos in the bedroom. Are you limiting foods like sugar and inflammatory oils? Are you minimizing your alcohol intake? Well, all of these things impact your sexual drive. And without further ado, let's dig into foods that increase libido and help us lose weight. Two incredible topics. Here to chat some more is the awesome Dr. Soliman. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here to discuss this topic with you.
Thank you. So we'll get to sex in a bit, but first, we know that certain vitamins and minerals serve as vital components that facilitate energy balance. Nutrition and weight balance kind of go hand in glove. Talk to me more about the consequence about minerals, nutrition, and weight, and how it all correlates.
So I think it's important to note that a lot of times we are trying to lose weight, we're exercising, we're eating right, and all of a sudden you just plateau, right? So you're like, wait, I just can't lose pounds. What's going on? And I think that at that point is when I get a lot of patients who come to me and say, what can I do? I've been trying and I can't do much more. And I always say you need to look at your nutritional status and your vitamin status, because a lot of times, I mean, there's over 15 different vitamins and supplements that are linked to weight management. And I can just start with vitamin D. A lot of times a patient's vitamin D level will be low. And we know that a low level of vitamin D is actually linked to poor metabolism of carbohydrates. And so all of those genes, they regulate vitamin D, are altering the way that fat cells form in people. So if your vitamin D is low, you're never probably going to be able to achieve the goal weight or the weight that you're interested in. And that's just one example of how many vitamins can impact our weight.
Interesting. Yeah, of course. I mean, we have there's a lot of deficiencies because of the many vitamins and minerals involved in energy balance. A few key micronutrients are commonly found to be deficient, really, in the general population. And you named it, but particularly and not limited to vitamin D. But then you have also iron and calcium. They're on the top of the list too. But interesting. I was reading something that you had published on your social media. Let's move on to carnitine. So carnitine carries fatty acids into the cells so they can be burned for fuel. This helps reduce visceral adiposity. Talk to me, which is the belly fat. Talk to me about where you find this.
So carnitine, you can pick it up at any whole food store, any vitamin store. It's sold. It's a substance that basically helps the body turn fat into energy. And if your carnitine level is low, again, when these levels are not where they're supposed to be because you're not either eating enough, and many of us don't, even with as much as we try to eat healthy, many times we cannot acquire as much as we need to through just diet alone. And sometimes supplementation is needed. And I tell patients that's okay. If you need to supplement a few, you probably don't need a multivitamin ever, but you might need certain vitamins or supplements at certain points in your life, depending upon your hormones, what age you are, your gender, various things going on within your body. And so carnitine is an example of that. Carnitine, you can pick it up anywhere.
And what about calcium and some of the other ones that you had mentioned?
Yes, there's a
Lipoic
lot.
acid, biotin, vitamin D, cysteine, magnesium, all
There
of
are
these.
so
Can you
many.
give
Yes,
me a little bit on each one of them?
there are so many. So biotin, I'll start with biotin because I think a lot of us think of biotin as something that helps with your hair, skin, nails. And I always tell patients actually, biotin is so important for regulating your metabolism. If your biotin level is off, you're not going to have your metabolism is going to be off. So biotin helps with lowering your insulin, it stabilizes your blood sugar, it helps, change all of what's going on with your fat formation as well. Chromium is another big one. Chromium makes your body more sensitive to insulin. So therefore it helps reduce your body fat, increases your lean muscle mass, which is what we all want, right? I know when I do my workouts, it's like you want that lean muscle. So chromium is something that a lot of patients are deficient in as well. There are so many more. Zinc is a big one. And we're going to talk about zinc later when we talk about libido, but a deficiency in zinc actually reduces leptin. And leptin is a hormone that regulates your appetite. And it's actually reversed by zinc repletion. So if your zinc is low, your libido might be low and also your weight might be off. And so it's important to, again, check some of these levels. And if you're not able to get these foods or get these vitamins through diet, then it's really important to supplement. Calcium, you mentioned as well. So calcium inhibits formation of fat cells. It helps to oxidize or burn your fat. So when your calcium is low, again, potentially linked to vitamin D, you want to make sure that you're taking enough calcium as well. And calcium, again, you don't want to, that's one of those where you do want to talk to someone before just supplementing and going and taking all these supplements, because calcium, you shouldn't take more than 500 milligrams at a time. Your body isn't able to absorb more than 500 milligrams at a time. So it's also important, time of day is important of when you take these vitamins and supplements, and also how you take them and how much you take it at various times in the dosages. But there's a bunch more. Vitamin E, vitamin A, magnesium is another one. Magnesium is also linked to just, general feelings and sleep and energy. And if you're not able to sleep at night, magnesium is actually helpful in restoring us. It actually helps patients sleep. It helps you calm. If you have restless legs or, muscle cramps,
Yeah.
magnesium is great for that. But also magnesium, correcting any deficiency actually will stimulate your metabolism because it increases your insulin sensitivity. So all of a sudden your insulin can work a little bit better. And it can also inhibit fat absorption. So
I love it. It's like also correlated.
yeah,
I've been taking magnesium for forever, since I was a teenager. But let's move on because we have about 3.5 minutes. I want to talk about the sex drive diet. So, without sounding like a broken record, what we put into our bodies determines how well it functions. And by filling our body with unhealthy foods, inflammatory oils, and blood sugar wrecking ingredients that I call sexual health takes a nosedive, right? And
right.
instead focus on foods that I would like to instead focus on foods that increase my libido. So what are foods rich in zinc, antioxidants, B vitamins, and hearty, healthy omega-3 fatty acids that we can easily access? And what should we be looking out for to increase this sex drive?
So I know that most people have probably heard about aphrodisiac properties of oysters. Oysters is a big one, and really it's because of the zinc in there. So looking for any foods that have zinc, that actually is important. There's other foods, beef, baked beans, pumpkin seeds also contain zinc. So those are other ways that you can do it. Carnitine is also a big one. So high protein foods. So again, beef, chicken, all of those are important. And with libido and sex drive, it's important to note that sometimes for men, it's different than for women. So men, we're looking at increasing testosterone. For women, it might be just more of a dilation. So something that can increase or vasodilate. So garlic might be more likely for women, or even for, to help with libido. And it might be a little bit different. Salmon is another big food that people use and recommend for libido. And I've seen that help. So anything with omega-3 fatty acids as well. So that's a very big one. And then nuts and seeds. So again, instead of trying, candy, just try to snack on nuts and seeds, and that will probably help.
I love it.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Maca. Have you heard of maca? Because maca is known as a superfood, and it's a Peruvian root that has long been used to increase strength, stamina, energy, fertility, and libido, both for men and women. And I started experimenting with this. While research is still needed, but the maca root may alleviate SSRI-induced sexual dysfunction, including having beneficial effects on libido, and that's what they're studying it for. And add a dash to your smoothie or coffee, and you see how you feel kind of concept in small doses. But that was interesting. And also, Dr. Solomon, carrots. I didn't realize this, but I guess the vegetable is known to help with balancing libido thanks to its high amount of beta carotene, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, definitely. And beets are another one, the beetroot. So I always tell patients increase your beets. Try to, add beets to your salads different times. Beets are a big one as well. So I think all of those are good. I think you brought up a good point with SSRIs. There are certain medications that can decrease your libido. So again, when you're starting a medication, always look for some of the side effects that can happen. And then you want to supplement that with food or with any type of vitamin or supplement as well to complement that medication.
Yeah, and back to carrots, it's in my mind. I keep going back to it, but I put it in my smoothies. I use it on as a side dish all the time. But carrots help balance hormones, specifically estrogen, because they contain this unique indigestible fiber to help detox excess estrogen from the body, which was very interesting to me. So definitely sticking to that. And what about raspberries? How do you feel about those? Because I know they're rich in flavonoids.
Raspberries are great too for low libido. I think that you can use them. They're similar. I would even say strawberries. They can increase your sex drive because they're again rich in zinc. I think that's a big one. And I know that raspberries also help to increase. They could potentially increase sperm production and libido as well. So those are big ones. Going back to the carrots though, I just wanted to add because I think there's a big thing that carrots also not just boost your metabolism, but they also strengthen your whole endocrine system. So I think it's really important to note that.
Oh yeah, I mean of course with boosting metabolism is one thing, but specifically I was researching it because my husband gets kidney stones and he's a chronic kidney stone producer. And when I was researching carrots, one of the properties was that carrots help balance it was the kidney function,
Yeah, they
strengthening the
strengthen your
kidneys. So
kidneys, yeah.
that was interesting. Yeah, I retain bits and pieces of information because I do so many of these interviews, but it helps me really kind of understand, my own life, the way that I like to, conduct my business at home and what I put on the table to serve my family. So it all matters.
And dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is again, it's an antioxidant, and that is definitely helpful in the bedroom as well, because it has the flavonols and it boosts your blood flow. It's definitely a big one, I think,
There you
especially, to try dark chocolate, even just 1 ounce or one square, is
Just do it.
helpful.
Well, we're
Yeah.
out of time, officially out of time. I wanted to thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure. You're like an encyclopedia. You just started talking and you listed all the nutrients, and I'm running out to get them now. So thank you so much for coming on, Dr. Suzanne Soliman. You're amazing.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You got it. You definitely have to check her out. She's all over the gram. Check out her website, drsuzannesoliman.com or at Dr. Suzanne Soliman. That was My Healthy Minutes segment brought to you by ogpay.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.